All right, hello, Algebra 2 student. And what we're going to do here is we're going to answer these questions here, numbers 14 and 15, where you are writing down the intervals for when the function is, in this case, decreasing and then positive. Now, the key on any problem like this is to determine important points. For example, what I usually do is I start off with the leftmost point. The leftmost point technically is this arrow right here. And because it's upper left, it's going up and it's going to the left, we would call this point negative infinity, comma, positive infinity. Because it's left, so that's negative infinity, it's up, it's positive infinity. On the right side, we have another arrow. And again, this will basically be a positive infinity, comma, positive infinity. Okay? For that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to locate other points. For example, I see this point right here. This point is located at 0, comma 2. This point right here is negative 3, comma 0. And then this point right here is 3, comma 0. All right? So now, those 5 points, and I put points in quotes because the infinities aren't really points, but they're going to be important for what we're about to do. Those points are going to be helpful for us figuring out which ones are increasing or decreasing and positive and negative, all that kind of stuff. Now, remember that f of x is equal to y, or y is equal to f of x. So when we're talking about what intervals of x is f of x decreasing, we're talking about when f of x y is increasing. Okay? All right? And then same thing for this one, it's going to be positive. On what intervals of x is f of x positive, when is y positive? That's basically what we're looking at. Okay? All right? Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to determine what we got here. Now, when we look at intervals, we always go from left to right. Okay? So we go left to right. And so what we do is we're going to start with the left side, and we're going to follow the pattern that it's going. Well, if I start on the left with this arrow, you'll notice that if I go downward, let's see here, I can highlight it, right? Yeah. But let me can I change colors? No, that's all right. Okay, so if I go to the left, if I do that and highlight it, okay, right there is going from that arrow to this point, and that's decreasing. We'll go and call that section A. Then the next part I do is I can go from here to here. Let me change colors here. Going from here to here is going to be increasing. We'll call that section B. Again, this point, starting at this point and going down to here, this would be a decreasing. That'd be section C. And then this point going from this point to here would be section D, and that's increasing. Okay? So we have 4 different sections basically that we can choose from, and that will help us determine when is it increasing, decreasing, whatever. Now, since the question here is asking us for decreasing, all that basically means is that we're going to write our decreasing word here, decreasing. And because it's decreasing, what we do now is we look at the sections that are where it's decreasing as we go from left to right. We'll notice here that there's an arrow going to this point here. So this arrow starts off at negative infinity. That's the x coordinate. And then the x coordinate at this point is going to be negative 3. So therefore, from negative infinity to negative 3 along x, going on the x's, it is decreasing. It is also decreasing at section C, so we're going to put a union. And now we're going to start at this point. So this x coordinate tells us it's going to be 0. So it'll be 0, and then the y coordinate, and then the x coordinate for the end of it will be at positive 3. So it'll be 0, comma 3. So we got negative infinity, comma negative 3, union 0, comma 3. Again, these are the x values. The x values when it is when it's decreasing. Okay, so we get the y values just so we can have them, but All we're doing is when we write intervals, we always look at the x coordinates, okay? Now, the other thing we need to do is see when it's positive. So when it's positive, what we'll do is we'll write positive, and positive simply just means that when is y greater than 0? Okay, when is it greater than 0? That's what positive means. And so when is it greater than 0? It's going to be above the x-axis. That's where it's going to be positive. So the question is, when is this graph positive? Well, again, we start on the left side. We notice that the left side of the graph is already positive. It's already above the x-axis. And if I travel along the graph, so I'm traveling along the graph, I get to here, and I get to here, and it's still above 0, okay? But then I go here, and it's above 0, and it's still, and then if I go here, above 0, and then if I go here, it's above 0. So technically, what we have to do is that once it hits the x-axis is not positive. It's actually at 0. So what we'll do is we'll do the same thing. We'll notice that section A is still positive. It's above the x-axis. So we'll do negative infinity, comma, -3. Okay, so there's the first one. Then we'll do a union, and then once again, now section B is above the x-axis, so we'll have to do from -3 to, now actually from -3, now at 2 it's still going to be positive, and then even after that it'll be positive. So it'll actually be from -3 to 3. So both sections B and C are still above the x-axis. And then we got to do one more union, and one more union will be the part at section D. So that'd be from 3 to positive infinity. So the reason why they're still up in circles is because, again, at x equals 3 and at x equals -3, they're both going to be at 0, and 0 is not positive. Okay? So this would actually be the intervals for it being positive. Okay? All right. And now we go down to number 15, and we'll do the same thing. We'll identify important points. So for example, this point right here, this is going to be negative infinity to comma negative infinity because it's down and left. This arrow right here will actually be, well, in this case, it actually will be positive infinity because it's going to the right. But then it's actually leveling off at -4. So -4 will be the y coordinate for that. Let's get some other points written. For example, we know that at this turn, the point will be at 6, comma, -4. We know that at this turn right here, this is at, 3, comma, 2. This point right here, 0, comma, 2. We also need to probably plot the x-intercepts. So right here, that's going to be 4, comma, 0. And then this point right here, -2, comma, 0. Always want to get your important points. Now, in this case, they're asking us for constant and negative. So what we have here is we have we have some sections here. So for example, we know that from here to here, we'll call that the A section, okay? Then we have a section going from here to here. We'll call that the B section. Then we'll call this section here the C section. Then we'll call, let's see here, let me get a different color here. Let's see, what can I use here? I guess I can use orange. This section here, that would be the D section. Then we can also say, then let's see, I guess we can repeat now. Then we have this section here, that's E. And then finally, this section here, that is the F section, okay? And so, you know, I didn't discuss this with other classes, but hopefully, now I'm going to show this to everybody, so hopefully you'll see that it's kind of better if you do every little segment part as a section. That way you can kind of read what's going on. Now, the question is, when is it constant, okay? What intervals of x is f of x constant? So what I'll do here is I'll write, constant right here. We're looking for the x values when it's constant. And so constant simply just means it's going to be a horizontal line, so it's going to look like this. So what sections have that? We have section C, and we also have section F. Those two sections are constant. They are both horizontal lines. So therefore, where do we start our first horizontal line? The x-coordinate is going to be at 0. So we'll put 0, comma, and then it goes to 3. Okay? So that'll be the first interval. Then we write union, and then we go down to the F section, which starts at 6. And then the arrow tells us it's going to go to infinity. And that's our constant values there. Okay? And then finally, we're going to go to do negative. So the x values when it's negative. So remember, negative simply just means that it's going to be below the x-axis. So anything below the x-axis is what we're looking at here. So when is it going to be negative? So that basically means that it starts on the left. It's the A section and it's the E section and the F section. A, E, and F are all below the x-axis. So all you got to do is write down the A section. The A section is going to be from negative infinity to negative 2. Okay, that's the A section. Then it's going to be union. Then it's going to be, let's move this down here. There we go. And then the next one is going to be the E section. That goes from 4 to 6. Actually, 4 to 6. And then F is also part of it. So really it's just going to be from 4 to positive infinity. Okay, because E and F are both under, so we can combine those together. And so that would be the interval for negative. Okay? So like I said, if you just kind of split these up into sections, it makes things a little easier to determine. So, okay? Well, I hope that this helps you and you get this written down, and we're looking forward to seeing you, that you have watched this and actually have done it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.